So I should probably explain this before we go too far. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know what I'm doing with any of this equipment. I'm planning a paddle, a sea kayak from Clairview to Mackay, about 320 kilometres through the Northumberland Islands. And I figured I'd give it a go at documenting it. And I've kind of done that before, but in a very basic, crappy way. It just seems like the sort of thing I guess people do these days. Maybe someone will enjoy it more than my other videos. Well, good morning from lovely Scawfell Island. Popped over here yesterday. It was an awesome run actually. About 40 kilometres. I think I left at 8 and got here at 1. Running with the wind, so again, you don't go too hard, but there was patches where I was doing easy splits of 10, even 11 kilometres per hour. And I think I averaged about 8 again, or 9 maybe. Actually more like 9. Anyway, nice run, got here at 1 at a gentle time. Lounged around, have set up camp. I'll do a little shot of that later if I include that. Walked around some rocks here. Yeah, let me just give you a quick view of the opposing direction. There we go. So scooted around to nearly that point there and managed to just pick up the slightest little bit of phone reception. It's amazing how patchy it is actually. This is the most frustrating experience. Over this side of the bay, I found out yesterday I can just pick up the faintest intermittent phone reception, which is great. I can check the forecast, update some people, yada yada. It's just really patchy, and I've climbed up this hill a bit as best I can, trying to get a higher spot. And yeah, I'm not going to go higher than this. It's just getting more and more scrubby now. And then down there's the ocean. Figuring high is better, but maybe not. I don't know if I'm getting it from out Yada direction or out Yada direction. Trees probably don't help either, but hard to avoid them. Anyway, not much else to do, I guess. When you get there, it just sort of comes and goes, but you can get a text message out. And I did manage to get a quick look at some forecasts. Not necessarily a perfect overview, but it looks quite similar to what it did a few days ago. So I'm going to lay low today here because the winds are looking to be a bit over 20, not a lot, and I think they've been forecast a bit higher than they've actually turned out, but nonetheless, I'll take the day. Tomorrow, scoot over to Turtle Beach and St. Bees Island just to get a little jump on that last leg into Mackay. The last leg into Mackay will be against the wind a bit, so the plan is from St. Bees to go as early as the tide will allow me to launch and then try to catch the tide in at least. And Tuesday seems to be forecast to be a little bit less, certainly a bit under 20 knots, maybe even more towards 15, especially get closer to Mackay. So headwinds always suck, but I'd much rather take 15 over 20 plus any day. That's a significant difference when you're going into it. And then that's it. Today is not looking like the most inspiring day to go do stuff. I don't know, I'll see how it goes out. It's pretty drizzly. It's even pretty windy in here actually. It sort of bounces around and comes straight back the opposite way. Like straight back in here, even though the prevailing breeze is heading over us, and some gusts. All night they were hitting the hammock quite hard at times, so it does some weird things in these little hollows. I know we're in the tropics, but that wind and rain, and we are in our winter, is colder than I prefer. Not quite Tassie, but it's got a Tassie feel to it. But yeah, it's sort of wet and drizzly and windy and a bit cold, so maybe I'll go for a kayak snorkel later, maybe I won't, up around the point on the way in. Look like there's some good coral, but it's not inspiring weather when it's overcast, gloomy, windy, cold to be in the water, even though it's right there. And Yeah, anyway, maybe I just need to suck it up. Otherwise, I'll sort out some gear, clean up, get ready. Not that I need a whole day for that, but hell, head around the rocks again when the tide drops and see if we can get some phone reception. Good chance to eat up too. Funny thing, and I'm not the only one who's observed this, but when you're out on the water kayaking, it's actually pretty hard to eat. And I think the reasoning is that your core's getting a fair workout as you're moving, and it just doesn't seem to encourage the appetite. So sometimes I get into camp, I'm absolutely ravenous after I've been in camp for an hour or so and it's all settled down. But yeah, it's not like when I go on walking trips, similar sort of style but different format. You sort of eat all day and you're hungry. Here you got to get it in. One little thing I did bring this time, and this is something that's mentioned by a guy called Laurie Ford, who's quite old now, but he's one of the original great sea kayakers down in Tasmania. Pioneered a lot of the gear we use now in terms of rudders and sails and electric pumps and the like, and used to do some crazy trips across Bass Strait and around Tasmania, going for well over 24 hours straight and so forth. But for the Australians, he always, in his nutrition kit, and I don't know how sophisticated it was, encouraged to bring some Vegemite. Vegemite and Sayos, I think, is what he used to have. The Vegemite's great for the B vitamins. It's pretty well fortified there, and lots of salt, not only sodium, but also they put a fair bit of potassium in there. So, hell, I brought some along, and you know, if the desire to eat it, the tastiness is a sign of it being good for you, well, I'm very much enjoying my little bits of Vegemite, so maybe he's onto something there. Whether it's helping much, I don't know. So yeah, bit of a sucky day, not what I'd hoped for, but that's it, that's life, that's what happens. We'll make the most of it. It's quite a nice little campsite regardless. At least I've got a table out of the rain, I've got a toilet out of the rain too, and some rainwater in the tank. There is water in the tank. I was told it can dry fairly quickly, so I shouldn't really complain, and only now pretty close to finishing. Hopefully the microphone picks this up through the wind. Currajongs, they're the ones singing and the crows, of course, but now here's something. You know, you're in North Queensland when they put a beer can crusher. It's pretty much near the only installation. We've got a bare table, we've got a water tank, and we've got a toilet. That's it, and a beer can crusher. Priorities, fellas, priorities. Righto, let's see what this crossing's like over to St. Bees. Kind of glad to be leaving Scawfell. It's pretty, but that campsite is just somehow, for somewhere so protected it would seem, it just sucked in these little gusts that just blustery came and went, and no real walking tracks. I did walk around the points, but ended up that hill trying to get phone reception. Possibly some good snorkeling out there, but it was cold and windy and overcast and rainy, and I just didn't feel up for it. Spent the time listening to some tunes and reading some stuff and walking and all that lazy crap, but that's okay. Alright. Tiny bit of wind on tide. Might get a little bit more down here. On the beam, not too bad. It's actually when you're getting some wind to deal with, either headwind or on the beam or what have you, not going downwind, it's better to have a developed sea. Waves, and this is, it's developed, just coming through here and there, but the waves kind of shield you from the wind a bit. It's like it's the roughness of the water or something like that, so you get a bit of protection in the troughs, and overall even I think a little bit, the wind doesn't feel quite as bad as it would if we were 5 or 10 metres up higher. So, you know, big seas, these aren't super big at all, but big seas can look intimidating when you're out in the open ocean. It's mostly pillowed, up and down, doesn't make that much difference, but it can be good. Just give you that bit of protection from the wind. Seen beads and Keswick. Keswick at the end there. I'll go around the next head. This is on the side. Keswick Island, glorious place. There's an airfield right there, I can see it. Boat ramp. Some sort of shack. Man, if there's like a cafe, I don't think there is. I'm up for a hot meal. They'll have me. My little beach for tonight. Pretty sure I'll get reception up there if I can't on the beach too, which would be cool. It's very windy, but we've got some protection just around the corner by the looks. Mackay is just that away, about 30, maybe not even quite 30 kilometres. Only thing will be when I can launch. If I can launch at the bottom of the tide, I can ride the tide to Mackay, and that's a big help. If not, and I've got to wait for it to come in further, that's, 2 kilometres an hour against me, as well as the headwinds against me, so you'll have those patches slogging it out at 4 kilometres an hour or something like that, depending on the winds. That sucks, but sometimes that's just part of it. Just grind kilometre after kilometre at that very low speed, and you get there eventually, but we'll see how it works out. This looks like a pleasant little spot from here anyway. That's my little scene for the last night. Looks like at least too that I can walk a bit on this island. It's grassy. Get some more views. Cool. Well, I don't know. They're going to show up. I have live mosquito wrigglers in my drinking water out of the rainwater tank. And I've been drinking these for days, and they're not going to do any harm. The thought of it's worse than the actual... There he is. Anyways, when you're thirsty, you'll drink anything and the water still tastes great. So I guess that's, as Bear Grylls would say, that's just a little bit of protein. Well, here's my special beach on St. Bees Island. Great little spot, and I've just been up the hill there, got some good phone reception because Mackay is about 30 kilometres that away. Very clear, so you could update everyone, get a weather forecast, all that sort of stuff. Then we got Keswick Island on the other side. This little channel I came through this morning. No problems with the run over. It was only a short distance, but good too because the angle's not too different to what I'll be doing into Mackay on the way tomorrow. What I need to see now is, as this tide drops, what sort of tide I can actually get off the beach. I'd love to launch on low tide, right on low tide, and then carry the current, the incoming tide, all the way to Mackay. That may not happen. I may have to launch a little bit later, and the less current I get, I'm already battling headwinds, so if I'm battling both current and headwind, it'll be very slow progress, but we'll just grind it out. But what we do have here is one of my favourite sorts of little campsites. It's, as you can see, the tide comes right up to these bushes most of the way, and it's really thick. But you find a little sneak hole, and there's generally always one, or you sort of almost make one. You've probably seen my kayak already. I've had to drag it right up because where I'm standing now, the tide will come in. I can see that. It's been in here last night. So the tide's probably going to come up to here or so, but then the kayak's safe. I've tied it up just to be extra paranoid as well. But then suddenly you're behind the beach thicket and into this quite open monsoonal forest. So that's the beach, and then we're in our own little world in here. It's protected, no wind howling, unlike Scawfell. That was just ridiculous at times. Hammock's already set up. Great little spot. Oh, just chill here tonight so easily. Look at that. Water on the screen, it's raining. Big turkey mound there too. Get it? The best way is usually from behind. Getting it right in there. Out of an oyster knife. Okay. Yum! There we go, powering in to Mackay with the tide, and the winds are more easterly than I feared. I've been pretty lucky this trip that way, so can actually use them a little bit of sort of cross roll that comes off them. I just want to keep up this pace. I think the first hour was nearly 9 kilometres an hour average. Which is really good. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, and there's no reason to save myself for the next day now. Oh, I'm not going super hard, but certainly just enough to try to get there in good comfort before the tide changes. It's a win-win all round. But actually quite fun now. It wasn't earlier for a bit. when they were breaking over my head from the side quite often. But now I seem to have a bit more run to work with. With a bit of luck, probably get in around between 11 and 12, I reckon. Uber to the Walters, pick up the car, have a shower, there, come back, load the boat and gear, chuff off home to town. Done ski. With that, I'm knocking out the last little bit into the wind to finish this trip in Mackay Harbour. Look, overall, the wind stayed up more than I'd hoped. I'd expected something like this at times, but that's all good. There was never an issue. All that preparation I did, I managed the tides and the days mostly as planned. Put in the miles, and the play becomes easier. I think I mentioned from this trip I was after a bit of adventure, a bit of challenge, and also a holiday, and I think I got all that, but the challenge was certainly controlled, as it should be. Disappointing to miss out on Bushy Island, but there's a voice in the back of my head saying, if I tried it, how would I explain it if it didn't go well? Given I was paddling into the tides both ways, and some challenging landings, getting through the reef and the like, it was doable actually in those conditions without a doubt, but margin of error, played it safe there. And Percy Island, of course, was very cool, and catching up with the Otters and the like there. It's a cool trip. There's so many destinations that, with all these islands between, say, Rockhampton and Cairns and North Queensland, you can put together endless combinations for trips like this. Some easier, some harder, some more supported, some not. So I'll certainly be at it again in the future. Not sure when, not sure where, but there will be more. Mackay, we are done. We are done.